Have you ever wondered the difference between mission critical gear and none? Where you should really prioritize your church's dollars on gear versus maybe think a little more creatively about it? We're here at the Village Church in Flower Mound, Texas, in the suburbs of Dallas. And we're here with Wes Ashworth, the production manager. Wes, how long have you been here at Village?
I'll hit 10 years this coming May.
Okay. A decade in. Do you get any retire benefits yet? Like, is it like the military where like 20 years in and then you're set for life, or?
No, not quite, but they're pretty generous here.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were one of the first ones to introduce me to this idea of mission critical, and I love saying it like that. So when you're referring to mission critical gear at the Village Church, what does that mean in your context?
Yeah. Speaking, you can boil it down to big ticket items: front of house console, video switcher, your router, could be house lighting, anything like that where if this thing breaks, service virtually doesn't happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so we're going to kind of try and separate some of those things. Mission critical, meaning if this breaks, service doesn't happen, the gospel doesn't go out.
Yeah.
Versus if this breaks, like Sunday will still go on.
That's right.
So you guys have an Avid S6L.
Yep.
How long have you had this at front of house?
Yeah, we bought this in 2018 because of our actually died console that we had a D show.
Okay. And how long have you had the D show?
Yeah, the D show was here obviously before I got here. And I want to say they put it into place in 2010 or 2009.
Okay. And we assume a digital console is going to last 10-ish years.
Yeah, you plan for 10? Yep.
But yours lasted, I guess, around 8 or 9 years?
Yep, something like that. I'm assuming. It might have been a little longer.
Yeah. Was it just happens sometimes? Was there something specific that was going wrong with it?
Yeah, there was something specific. I would say, yes, it just happens sometimes. In this instance, if you're familiar with how the venue consoles worked previous to this new iteration, the FOH rack had clocking cards in it. The clock cards were failing.
Yeah.
So it would lose sync with the inputs on the stage rack side. And so I had a whole stage rack missing of inputs on the front of house side that I couldn't use, and that's where a lot of our mission critical elements fell. So in that instance, I actually had to reroute 30 minutes leading up to a service, all of those inputs over to local inputs in the booth. So we could still at least get the bare minimum of what we needed for that event. But then the next month we had a new console in because we'd be limping along for too long if we didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah. So I assume, let's say you had a projection wall, and you're going to leadership, and you're saying, "Hey, it'd look really cool if we had an LED wall."
Yep.
That wouldn't be the same kind of discussion as you're saying. Our front of house console
Yeah.
is hanging by its last leg,
That's right.
and then you're pitching something in this S6L that is probably close to $100,000 brand new.
Yeah, it's appreciated in value. Actually, that's the funny thing. We could probably sell this for the same amount of money we purchased it for at this point. In that framework, like we were already in a certain echelon of console, so we could justify staying in that same range and newer technology.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say you could go to your leadership and say, okay, I'm moving from this SQ7 to this $50,000-$60,000 Digico console. It just totally depends on your context.
Yes.
But for us, it was a logical choice to stay in the platform and just get a newer version of it. We were already in that price range anyway.
And so going to leadership, and that's not a small amount of money, but when you're clearly communicating, if this dies, Sunday doesn't happen, then it becomes it's not even so much a decision anymore. It's yes, we are going to spend that money.
That's right.
Did you also have to just build up the the trust and the reps with your leadership to say to them, we need to spend $100,000?
Yeah, I think there was a level of understanding already there by the operational side of our team who is over finance and facilities and all those kinds of things. They know stuff is expensive. I think there's a lot of lack of understanding in the non-production world. It's like, why does this cost so much money?
Mm-hmm.
I think working for a large church, some of that is just inherently there. But yes, there was trust there before it's like, yes, we need to spend $80,000 on a new console.
Yeah. And you could have technically got another D show to replace.
Yeah, we probably could have found a used D show.
And you actually did that with your lighting console, though.
That's right.
Tell us what happened with your lighting console.
Yeah, so we had we were an all Vista house for a while. We still use it in some of our small spaces. And we had, I think it was an S3 was the form factor. And it's essentially a glorified mouse with DMX outputs. so software based. We wanted to get away from that after that died, but it basically died again, leading right up to a service. And I had to pivot all of a sudden and go grab a console from another room, and just to get through a weekend. But what I was able to do is come to y'all and say, I need something to get us through this point in time until we decide what we want to purchase long term to just be our new form factor.
And by y'all, you mean churchgear.com.
Church gear. Yep, church gear. Church gear.
Yes.
Yeah, so that died. I would say that's a mission critical failure.
Yeah.
We were fortunate enough to be able to just do a workaround temporarily.
Here in this instance, in the front of house console, you bought new tech, but with lighting, you decided to get by with a used replacement for another certain amount of time. How long did that replacement live? At least, in the auditorium here.
Yeah, I would say we probably had it in place for a month or two while we were trying to figure out what format we wanted to go with.
So we've looked at, the front of house console, lighting console, examples of mission critical gear. Can you give us some examples of non-mission critical gear around here?
Yeah, I think if a stage light goes out, if you just got a moving light, but you've got 12 up there, great, no big deal. You can fix it for the next weekend or rent one in, whatever. I would think a Terra deck going out is probably not a big deal. You can hardline a camera if you've got tie lines somewhere.
Yep.
Maybe even a wireless channel, because maybe you got 12 and you're only using 8.
Yeah.
That's plenty. Hardwire one if you have to. Honestly, it sounds better, so save some money.
Okay. And what about waves? If waves goes down, does service die, or do you have
waves goes down? Learn how to mix.
So you replaced your front of house console. You eventually replaced your lighting console, mission critical items.
That's right.
How do you guys budget plan, knowing that a $80,000 to $100,000 console is probably going to last about 10 years? Do you wait for kind of that uh-oh moment, or do you start planning the day you buy the current one to budget out?
Ideally, that's what you would do. You would plan from the day that you purchase your new equipment for the day that it's going to die. You just plan depreciation and figure that out from the onset. And so just if we backtrack 8 years when we bought this, it was, it wasn't $100,000, but it was a lot of money. And so I'm thinking, okay, if I need to replace this again 10 years after that, then I'm figuring out a way to, if the finance department can work with me on this, can a percentage of our annual, not revenue, what's the term I'm thinking of, excess budget, can that be set aside for capital purchases down the road? That way, when it does die, or when we do just have to replace it, it's not, oh, my entire equipment budget is eaten up. If you even are fortunate enough to have an $80,000 equipment budget, we don't even have that. So it has to be a kind of a relationship between your operations, finance, however that works at your church. And we're trying to get into more kind of in sync in that way. And the process that we're currently in of just overhauling and updating everything around here is going to help over time put us on a healthy path like that.
And I would assume you can even differentiate the way that you budget for mission critical versus non-mission critical.
Sure.
You can say you can use your stage lights until they literally die, and then knowing you can replace them with, a few $100s per light, whatever it is, versus your front of house console. It's like you want to be planning for 10 years because you want to replace that before it dies.
Right.
Because if that dies, Sunday goes down.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, really interesting insights from the Village Church, mission critical versus non, how you budget for different ones. And it definitely depends on your context, but there are usually very specific things that are always mission critical. I would venture to say your front of house console, always mission critical. Your lighting console certainly might be. If you are a streaming church, you have a large audience online, and you don't know what that could go down, your video switcher, your infrastructure there. But there are other things that aren't necessarily like if you have 16 channels of wireless and you're only using 12 on a typical Sunday, you've got some flex. If you've got a lot of stage lights, 1 or 2 goes down, like Sunday is not going to die. So just think about that as you are planning ahead for mission critical items versus what you got some flex with. If you ever find yourself in the same position as Wes at your church where something critical goes down on a Wednesday, on a Friday, and you don't have the option to buy a new replacement to get it in, churchgear.com, we have so many of the items that you have right there in your church. As we like to say, we keep Sundays running. So come to churchgear.com, find that item, order it ahead of time, ideally, so you have a backup in place. But also, if it goes down on Wednesday, we got you by Sunday.
Hey, thanks so much for watching that video. We know how difficult it is to keep Sundays running at your church, and we know a lot of it is about the gear. So we want to give you an exclusive 5% additional off anything, even if we're running a sale. Even if we're running a sale, additional 5% off, grab the code in the video description below.